guys. So, a lot has been going through my mind lately. A lot of personal growth, I guess, or spiritual insight. Now, I have been seeking, answers and seeking truths, and I have been for years. It's just me. I'm always searching. And what came to me most recently was well, let me start by saying that I often, before I go to bed, I ask Spirit to just come to me in my dreams while I'm sleeping, to help me process things, figure things out, to give me messages, whatever. And I had done this right before I went to bed after watching a podcast about psychics, mediums, channeling, spirits, and stuff like that. And I remember waking up in the middle of the night and repeating some message. And of course, as always, I'm like, oh, I'm totally going to remember this when I wake up again. Which I didn't. But what I did remember was the energy, and which slowly came to me. Oh, listen up my belt because my stomach hurts today. What I've realized is that with me personally, in my life, okay, this doesn't have to relate to everyone else, but the way that I'm seeing things and how things have evolved musically in my life was from a musical spirit attachment as a child. So the spirit of music attached to me as a child when I was very vulnerable and I needed something to hold on to. Music was something that I would go to for comfort or as an outlet for screaming at the top of my lungs or releasing stress. It was also something that my grandmother told me that would help the plants grow. If you sing to the plants, they like it, they grow, they're happy. And she had also told me at a really young age, I can't tell you how old I was, maybe 5, very young, way too young to understand what the fuck she was talking about. She said that she had the opportunity to have a record deal and become this great singer because she was a singer. And she may have sang in a band. I'm not really sure. I didn't ask for details. I was too young. She was just talking. And she said that she chose her family over music. And she has regretted it ever since. So if I ever got that opportunity, I better fucking choose music. Fuck my family, choose music. And so that's always been kind of in the back of my head since I was young. And I've always tried to put my son first before music. But inevitably, at some point when he was like 7 years old, he was like, Mom, you love music more than me. So that deeply rooted, embedded thought that my grandmother had embedded in me was music over family, right? Very specific. So in my life, the spirit of music I want to say, latched on to me at a very young age, and it has been with me ever since. Now, the spirit of music with me has not always been a good thing. Music has always been there when I'm angry, when I'm sad, when I'm lonely, when I'm confused, or when times are just hard. Music has been there for me the most. Music has always, or at least the spirit of music, I can't blame music itself, but the spirit of music has always written songs for me. Okay, I'm not always the one writing. These aren't always my words. They're coming from the spirits that I have allowed to exist in my life and manifest through me. The problem with that is that every time that I have tried to stop doing music, the spirit of music is just pulling at me, come back, what are you doing? You're nothing without me, and just not letting me live my life without it. So I am always coming back to music. Now that I am older, I'm more spiritually evolved, and I now recognize, for the first time in my life, I recognize that the spirit of music that has been latched onto me since childhood is no longer conducive to who I'm evolving to become. It's actually kind of holding me back, because the spirit of music that latched on to me is not the same spirit of music that latches on to everyone. The one that latched on to me because of all of the trauma that I had experienced, and it became an outlet at that time when I did not know how else to express myself but through the sound and the words of others. As I grew older and started putting my own words to sound, the spirit of music also took that over. And I hear it very clearly now in the latest album, and I want to say a couple albums leading up to this one in different bands, how dark that spirit became within me, because I allowed it to control my music. I actually grew dependent on it to write stuff for me. And I always tell people that when I'm in that zone, I'm not the one writing the song, because there are so many songs that I have written. I used to write them down on paper, and now I just fucking record myself singing them. I don't remember writing those words. I don't know where those experiences are coming from. When I first started writing songs as a teenager, yes, I could take credit for those. Those were kind of my experiences, my words, fumbling around, writing about the experiences of others. But as I got older and the spirit got older and stronger within me, it is kind of taken over. Now that I recognize that, I feel like I need to, and I did, set a boundary with that spirit of music that has actually just brought a bunch of turmoil and drama into my life. My musical journey has not been a smooth one. It's not been easy, and it's not been super joyful. There's always been some sort of chaos, some sort of negative energy within the bands. There's always something, and that's why I haven't stayed with one band for very long. This band that I'm in now, I've stayed with the longest because I was determined to not quit and not give up this time, right? But that was because the spirit of music made me feel like a failure for walking away from it so many times before. So this makes it challenging, right? So now that I'm seeing things from a different perspective, so many things are making sense to me. And one of the things that really needs to happen is that I need to cut this tie with the negative spirit of music. I understand that there is a way for me to take control of my own spirit and my own music, but the negative spirit that is attached to me and that has been attached to me for so long makes it really hard for me to explore that other part of me. The more positive I become, the more aware I am of the negative shit in my life that has to go. This negative spirit of music in my life has to go for me to evolve to the next stage in my life, in my journey, in my evolution. What does that say for my band? I don't know. There's a lot of negative shit. There always has been. And I've just chalked it up to that's just how it is. But I'm starting to become more aware, and it doesn't have to be that way. And I'm starting to wonder if having music in my life in general is even good for my life right now, because of all of the constant drama that is associated with it. And now, if you're a musician and you're in the music scene and you've had a lot of negative musical experiences like I have, then you know what I'm talking about. I am pretty sure that there are people in this world that don't experience that when it's related to music. Okay, if there's one end of the spectrum, there's gotta be another one. There are probably people that every time they associate music with their life, it's a happy period. And that's great because the positive spirit of music attached to you and you allowed it into your life. Unfortunately for people like me, it came into our lives when we were experiencing trauma, and it's a little harder and tougher to understand, I guess. Let's just put it that way. I don't expect anyone that's only had a positive music journey to understand what the fuck I'm talking about. Just like I don't understand what it's like to have a completely positive musical journey. I don't. I know it's gotta exist, but I have not experienced it. You know, it's like a fucking unicorn. I know it's out there, but I've never seen it. So, with that said, if you're still listening, I've realized that there are several spirits attached to several emotions, several feelings, several things, several circumstances. And whatever spirit that has attached to you and is still draining you, what I've learned recently is that it's okay to set a boundary with it and tell it no. Cut ties from it, remove it, or if it's a spirit you don't mind having around, then establish boundaries when it can come around and when you don't want it around, right? So with the spirit of music that I've had in my life for so long, I've let it know that I'm setting this boundary with it because it's not going to be attached to me forever. And if the spirit of music does not start providing me positive experiences with my musical journey within the next year, then I'm cutting ties completely with it. Now, it's not a threat. It's a promise. I am going to give the spirit of music one more year of my life. Maybe. I might change my mind and cut it off sooner. But it's not going to be attached to me forever. So I will give this band one more year. One more year will equal 7 years, okay? After 7 years, if the shit still isn't working, it's not gonna fucking work. Ever. Okay? Same thing with any other relationship. You gotta give it some time. If it doesn't work, then move on, right? And I'm not saying that I'm going to cut ties with the spirit of music to go join another spirit. Fuck that. No. I'm cutting ties with the negative spirit that is attached to me from childhood so that I can heal, so that I can take time to focus on my energy without being dragged down by the music. And I would like to know what it's like to live my life without that burden of music and without that spirit constantly talking down to me when I'm not doing good enough. Okay, that's what I mean when I say I'm cutting ties with it. And I'm pretty sure there are some other spirits that I've allowed to live in my life that I will get rid of as well. One of them was the spirit of wine, drinking alcohol. That helps me get through a lot of things for a while, and I've had to cut ties with that one. The other one is caffeine. The spirit of caffeine. I am currently struggling with cutting that tie right now. But I haven't had any caffeine for about 2 months. And before that, it was just chai tea. I cut out coffee a long time ago, with some mishaps here and there. I'm cutting my ties with the spirit of gluttony, overeating. There's so many spiritual ties that I need to cut so that I can accept some new ones on this positive journey of mine. That's the best way I can describe what's been going on in my mind.